Man, what an episode of the biography this was. I think it was my favorite one, and maybe the most detailed out of all of them. Or maybe it was just because I didn't know most of these facts. Because I do respect Macho Man a whole lot, but like that was kind of before my era. But I mean, everybody knows about Macho Man, how great he was. The Randy Savage came from his brother's advice, which was in most of this um biography. Born in Illinois, and he had this baseball career. That's like his real name. There's the card right there. It probably has some type of value. This is not the actual card itself, though. As you can see, it's just a picture from the internet. Played catcher and first baseman for the Cardinals and the White Sox. He's an instant hit in his wrestling career. Just crazy charisma and stuff like that. Um, Big rivals with Jerry Lawler in the 80s and more of the territory era. Some crazy stuff here. Great matchup. His rivalry with Hulk Hogan was insane. They kind of always leave Randy out of that in like the 80s and kind of, I mean, he was just a perfect charismatic bad guy to go along with Hulk Hogan, the good guy that could do no wrong. And also, as you know, it's kind of like a Daniel Bryan CM Punk build. He wasn't the biggest guy, but his charisma and his mic skill, his in-ring skill for sure made up for that size difference, which that's just how most of the dealers think. If I was, or not dealer, but that's how most of the owners and businessmen think. But I mean, I nowhere, I have nowhere near the skills of Vince McMahon when it comes to that. But you know, he knows what he's doing. But can't always judge people off of like their physique because it's what the bite inside the dog. You know, his character was real, very genuine. You know, like you could definitely see that he lived and breathed the Macho Man persona. But that was like actually him. I don't even think it was a persona, it was just him. Elizabeth was his first manager, played a big part in his career. One of the best managers to ever do it. Um, Rest her soul and rest the great Macho Man soul, of course. Both great at what they did. They both met before he came to WWF, right at the end of his territory run, and they were married 6 months before he came to the WWF, as it said in the biography. His dynamic with her was insane, just like the both. I mean, they were like real life married, of course, so they had that connection, and then their in ring work was insanely good. And a lot of people in this biography said how smart he was with his money. His dad taught him that because a lot of stuff, you know, his mom coming from Germany at the time, and all that Hitler bullcrap was going on, and she was Jewish, so they had it rough. He worked real hard, so Macho Man was great with his money. He took care of that. Slept in his car instead of getting a motel. The motel's kind of a scam anyway with the prices they charge, you know. Uh, Great at prepping for matches. Um, Steamboat talked about how they had like 160 or so steps for that match at WrestleMania 3, one of the greatest matches of all time. If you haven't watched it, you need to. It's definitely worth the watch. But yeah, I just think Macho Man's criminally underrated, gets a lot of hate because people don't do their research. This biography here like really opens up your eyes, but of course you want to do like your own outside research to add to it and make sure you know you just don't get a slanted view of him. And there's Elizabeth in the background if it wasn't blurry right there, but it is what it is. Um, and she reunited with him after I think he was with Sherry. That was one of the loudest crowd pops when she hops the guardrail and destroys Sherry. I think that's her name. and then reunites with Macho Man, which at the time there was some things going on outside of the ring that wasn't well for their marriage, but that's what kind of sucked about the whole thing. They were really getting it to go on TV, and they had the whole marriage angle on TV, but in real life their marriage was not doing as well as they maybe wanted it to. And also you transition into the part where I didn't mean to go back to that picture. Um Randy basically started the Monday Night Wars because he was one of the first people to leave because Vince had him at commentary and he wasn't done. He still had a lot he wanted to do. So went over there and he was kind of the leader of the locker room at that point because Hulk Hogan, I mean, he was still there, but he really wasn't there like Randy was. So when Randy did shit, a lot of other people thought, well, damn, we don't really have a leader. We might as well follow him to WCW. And there's that. And Vince and him kept it very classy. Slim Jim contract, so Eric Bischoff got a cut on that, so he couldn't make a dumb money decision with Macho Man. And basically, apparently from what that said, Bischoff didn't have to pay anything because the Slim Jim contract was a $750,000 a year. I mean, everybody knows about those commercials, even if that was before your time or after your time. Just freaking insane. Then Lex Luger and the um Lex Luger and the Elizabeth relationship, that was just something I wouldn't have done because they were friends, like all locker room buddies. I think that was kind of messed up. But I mean, he didn't let it phase him. He was the bigger man, grown man in that situation. But I just think that was messed up. Then he got his new girlfriend. I think he met at a nightclub. That was kind of went good at first, but didn't in the end. There's not really a point in me going over that too much because it's just a bunch of blah blah. Then he kind of had a little rapping career dissing Hulk Hogan. Didn't really go nowhere. But 50 Cent holding a CD. I think it sold like 50,000 copies. But something kind of funny, I guess. And he was one of the first big wrestlers that landed like a giant movie role in Spider-Man in 2002, like the OG Spider-Man movie, I guess, like the early 2000 movie with Tony Maguire. Pretty sure that's his name. Then, he kind of got to transition out of wrestling, which a lot of people don't get to do. Kind of got to transition out of it peacefully on his terms and when he wanted to do it. But he kind of had some steroid issues too. Like he used to say he used to go in there with his dad and like get the medicine, and the medicine was the steroids. It's a big problem in wrestling and causes things like legends like him. Basically, their downfall because they just try to keep up with their physique. But I mean, it's just crazy, man. Just try to keep up because their physique's basically everything. That's what makes them look like a superhero, so to speak, is their physique and their character. I think that took a toll on him mentally, physically, and emotionally, just everywhere. And he got a pretty good ending to his career. Reunited with his high school sweetheart, and they got married and settled down. Had some dogs, to take care of because they were too old at the time to have kids, which I don't even know. They really didn't go into that. I guess he didn't have none, or if he did, they just didn't want to participate in this biography. But me making an assumption, I guess he didn't, because I'm assuming it would have been on the biography. But yeah, man, it's like a pretty good ending for him outside of wrestling. And then, that tragic day in 2011, which really sucks, because, I mean, nobody should have to experience that, but it just is what it is. A great legend, one of the most underrated legends in wrestling, in my opinion. I think he gets a lot of disrespect and a lot of flack for no reason. But yeah, man, that's just pretty much my take on it. I tried to stay out of like his relationship stuff as much as I could, but they did talk about it a lot in the biography, so I kind of had to touch over it, I guess. But yeah, that's just kind of my thoughts on this biography episode. I think this is the best one I've watched so far. The next one I'll be making is on Booker T here in the next couple of days, and I forgot to record the Shawn Michaels one this past Sunday, but it's supposed to rerun on there, so I'll watch it later this week. Have that one coming out after the Booker T one. I'm not sure when that one will come out. Probably another week from now, because I try to spread it out more. But yeah, man. Appreciate you for clicking on the video. Maybe leave a like and give me your thoughts in the comments, and maybe even subscribe if you want to. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that. And catch you in the next one.